Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Walsh's Playbook. That's former Raiders offensive coordinator Tom Walsh. I'm Grant Cohn. The Niners play in 2 days. They practice in about an hour. Kyle Shanahan talks in about 2 hours, so we'll learn a little bit more about the injuries and stuff. But we need to talk to Tom and find out whether the Niners have a chance. They just they didn't really, well, they lost by 10, but it was kind of blown out, but dominated. We're going to use the word dominated by the Seahawks 2 weeks ago. Something's got to change this time. So we'll ask Tom what that is, what it could be. But first, let's go back. We haven't spoken publicly since the Niners beat the Eagles. You picked the Niners. No, you picked the Eagles. I eventually picked the Niners. Were you surprised? Like, what were your takeaways of this upset over Philly?
Well, first of all, I thought Kyle did a great job of handling things offensively. Some really good play selection that got some big gainers. And then the other thing is, Philadelphia just laid a total egg offensively. They at one point went 3 and out, 3 consecutive series. They had 10 plays and they gained 4 yards. Or some ridiculous number. Then they also got hit with a couple of penalties and situations that pushed them behind the chains. And all of a sudden, 1st and 10 goes to 1st and 20 rather than the second 3 or 4 when you get called for the penalty. And I just thought that I was impressed with the defense. I tell you what, let me say this. I thought that I don't want to call them replacement linebackers, but Kendricks and those guys played far beyond the normal expectations that one would have for them coming in as late as they have. Although Kendricks does have a lot of experience playing in the NFL, but those guys played better than some of the guys the Niners were playing with earlier in the season. I hate to say it, and I think that gave them some new life because those guys had energy, they had enthusiasm, they were making plays.
Yeah, I think they were probably an upgrade over Tatum Bethune and D. Winters. And I don't know if you've heard, but the big story this week is that Fred Warner is trying to come back miraculously from this injury so quickly. And it's a great story and it's great for his legacy. But I wonder if he's better than Eric Kendricks right now or better than Garrett Wallow right now. I mean, those two guys are kind of in the zone. It's interesting.
Well, the other thing is they're excited. They're energized. They probably have the enthusiasm that they have is carrying over to the rest of the defensive unit. And the defense has got to be excited because these guys are making plays. And they did a very good job gang tackling. You saw a lot of helmets on the ball carriers. You didn't see guys just reaching out and grabbing. You saw guys actually making contact and wrapping up. And it even made some of the other Niners better defensive players as well. And I was more impressed with a couple of the the corners and the secondary players with some of the efforts that they made tackling at or behind the line of scrimmage. And I thought that was very positive for a change.
I mean, Wallow's interesting because he's 26 and he hasn't really done anything in the league. And now he's like sort of asserting himself as a potential player. Kendricks is interesting because he has done a lot in the league. I mean, he's older, but in his prime, he was considered one of the best linebackers. He played, I think, 17 games for Dallas last year, had more than 130 tackles, and then he took the year off because he had some injuries. He wanted the right situation, and then they pull him off the street, and you think, wow, what's Eric Kendricks going to give you? But he looks like Eric Kendricks. I mean, he wasn't just making plays, but it seemed like he was the brains of the defense. He was communicating really well. He was a real asset.
Well, his experience showed, and I think that probably also had a calming effect on the rest of the players. And so when you bring in a vet like that, who's been through the, ropes a few times and understands what it's all about, and he maintains that calmness and keeps everybody organized and structured, that is a positive factor for the defense.
When you picked the Eagles to win, you laid out your thinking, and it was I was right there with you. You said, Sure, this offense has been awful, but they haven't been running Jalen Hurts, and they're going to do it in this playoff game. And it made perfect sense. Like, why wouldn't you? He's been running for like 20 yards a game. That should be more like 50, 60, 70. He ran for 15 yards, and then the offensive coordinator got fired. That can't happen ever again in Philly. If that's their run.
Well, the thing that bothered me the most about that, Grant, is that it did not occur until the third quarter before they called a quarterback design run for Hurts. And I'm thinking, why are you waiting so long? You've made your offense one dimensional in the run game. You're not utilizing Hurts. You're not taking advantage of new players on the Niners defense to understand how adept are they at responsibility, who has the quarterback, who's got. They didn't challenge the Niners to test how viable those replacement backers were going to be in critical situations. And I thought that was a major mistake.
I mean, Purdy ran for more yards than Jalen Hurts. I really thought that the Eagles let the Niners off the hook and got what they deserved. I mean, that's how they've been playing all year. I have a friend who used to work out here who's now back in Philly, who covers, them for a TV station. And I was talking to him at halftime. I was like, what are they doing? They're acting like they have a 20-point lead. They're up 3. He's like, they've been doing this all year, man. I don't know what to tell you. And then they lost.
Yeah. But the thing about it is their passing game also is marginally acceptable, predicated upon the kind of talent that they have at receivers and at tight end. They should have a much more explosive pass offense. And then, of course, now, what did they drop? 4 third down passes, which could have been first downs. So, A.J. Brown butchered a couple of balls. And I know but they had opportunities, so they have to only point the finger at themselves for not being successful winning that ball game last Sunday at home.